please, who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you? We teach you to love the hair that God gave you. Here you way out in the middle of the ocean, can't swim, and you worried about someone that's in the bathtub and can't swim. We don't steal, we don't gamble, we don't lie, and we don't cheat. And that also deprives the government of revenue, because you can't get into a whiskey bottle without getting past the government seal. You can't open a deck of cards without getting past the government seal. There's a white man makes the whiskey and then puts you in jail for getting drunk. He sells you the cards and the dice and puts you in jail when he catches you using them. So he's against us because we fix it where he can't catch you anymore. We take the dice out of your hands and the cards out of your hands and the whiskey out of your head. The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And as Muslims, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to respect our women and to protect our women. And the only time a Muslim really gets real violent is when someone goes to molest his woman. We will kill you for our woman. I'm making it plain, yes. We will kill you for our woman. We believe that if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men and place the same penalty over the head of anyone who puts his filthy hands out to put in the direction of our women.
Good Monday afternoon, YouTube. How you guys doing today? I hope you guys are I hope you guys are having, should I say, a wonderful start to your work week. So I just wanted to start off this video and our conversation with words of the great Malcolm X. We know that we no longer have a warrior class collectively in the Black community anymore. And I present to you today the fact that we probably never have. Okay, Malcolm X also did a speech called the House Negro and the Field Negro. Okay, and when you put it, when you talk about the House Negro and the Field Negro, we know that the Field Negro was the Negro out in the field working hard, picking the cotton, doing what he got to do, to provide as best he can, for his people, to keep the man off his back. You figure if he work hard, from sun up to sundown, he'll keep the man off his back. We know that off his back or his woman's back. We know, unfortunately, that was not true. But a part of the reason why I say we no longer have a warrior class in the Black community collectively is because we see our Black men, pretty much advocating and acting like putting himself in the place of the white man in the Black community. And that is what we're going to talk about today. But first, let me fix my phone so I can see you guys' comments. Give me 1 second so I can say my good afternoons to everybody. And so, yeah. And you guys, if you don't mind, please hit the like button. So, thanks for joining me, everybody, this afternoon. I know a lot of you guys are listening at work. I think that you will enjoy what I am going to present to you today. Good afternoon, Jessica, Lachey Divine, Alicia, um, Jessica Truth. Good morning. I am an Aries Queen. Good morning. Miss Clorm. Good morning. Cloud. Hey, Cloud. Hey. Nikki Joe, good morning. So, anyway, guys, what I want to talk to you about today is a Jonathan. Good morning. There was an article in 2017 written by a author by the name of Damon Young. And in 2017, I had only been on YouTube for a couple of months. And like I've told you guys before, that prior to me coming to YouTube, I had never heard of um, all of this back and forth between the black man and the black woman, out of this rhetoric, especially this anti-black woman hatred coming out of the mouths of black men. Good morning, Marquise. That is not my world. Even today, that is not my world. So when this article came out by Damon Young in 2017, the name of that article was Straight Black Men Are the White People of Black People. So a lot of people were, in uproar about it, especially on Twitter. I did a video about it, and in that video, I was in an uproar because I'm like, oh my God, is he crazy? What is he saying? This is a lie. This is not true. Why would they say something like this, about the black man? Do you see what I'm saying? I was just in an uproar. And like I said, this is prior to me understanding, a lot of this anti-black woman rhetoric that we are even having to endure as black women in this quote unquote woke sector of YouTube today. And so that is also in part why I titled the video The House Negro's Revenge. Okay, because we know the House Negro, he did everything and anything. His only goal in life was to please the master. Do you see what I'm saying? When the master say we sick, he say we sick, boss. And brother Malcolm said in the words of Malcolm X, when the white man say my house is burning down, he say our house is burning down, boss. Do you see what I'm saying? And I told you a little bit about what I thought about that, about the black man seeking the validation of the white man, and why he's turned against us, because he's jealous of the black woman, because he feels like the black woman gets more attention from the white man than he does. And for that reason, for that reason alone, is why we have to hear so many derogatory things coming out of the mouths of these he-man black woman haters, coming out of the mouths of black men in this sector, because they simply are jealous of the black woman. Okay, and so going back to the article, the Damon Young article, in 2017, I didn't agree with it. I didn't understand what it was that he was trying to say. Like I said, that was not my word. I had never heard of anything like that in my life. I absolutely disagreed. But today, in 2020, I absolutely agree with the article. Okay, and I'm going to share the article with you, as well as read to you some of the article, and because of the things that I'm hearing out of the mouths of these black men, these he-man black woman haters, this is why I agree with this article. This article is absolutely on point, and so yeah, let me share my screen, and we'll get into it. Like I said, I know a lot of you guys are at work, but I really wanted to come on and talk about this today. So let me try to share my screen. 1 second. I'm getting better at this, y'all. Okay, I hope you guys are hitting the like button. And also, if you would like to support my channel, all of your donations are greatly appreciated. Please feel free to hit that super chat button or that Cash App button, or my donation information is in the description box. Just let me say that. Let me share the screen. Hold on 1 second. Now I'm gonna pull up the article for you guys. It took me a minute to find this article, because like I said, it was back in 17. It took me a minute to go through the Rolodex in my brain and even remember the name of the young man that wrote the article. Okay, but I really want to share it with you guys today. And yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying. Okay, let me see if you guys can see this. 1 second. Okay, you can see it. Okay, so like I said, this article was published 9/19/17. It's by Damon Young. It's published in The Root. The name of that article is Straight Black Men Are the White People of Black People. And like I said, at the time that this article came out, a lot of people were up in arms about the article. Do you see what I'm saying? A lot of people didn't agree with it. And in 2017, I didn't even agree with it. But like I said, I have gotten a whole education as it pertains to the gender wars and how a lot of black men, not all, but how a lot of black men view black women, how a lot of the vitriol that is spewed on a daily basis, towards the black woman, to the point to where, if we're not careful, you are going to have black men acting out some of the things that they talk about on, YouTube and on social media, because there is so much hate. There's an enormous hate campaign against the black woman going on right now. And so, like I said, I want to share some of this article with you guys. I don't know if a lot of you guys remember, or if any of you guys remember. And that's another reason why I want to share this article, because I'm in agreement with the article. Now, so let me try to scroll down and we'll try to read along. I don't know if you guys can see the print, but that is why I'm going to read it. And so, yeah. Forgive me when I start to stumble over my words. It's just that my brain is downloading the information quicker than my mouth can spit it out. Okay, I don't know if that's a Southern thing or if that's just a me thing, but please be patient with me. Okay, not to mention these glasses ain't the best. Anyhow, we're going to read the article. Okay, and so the article goes as follows. And I quote, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button before we get started, I would greatly appreciate it. The article states, which is written by Damon Young in 2017, and I quote, it feels counterintuitive to suggest that straight black men as a whole possess any sort of privilege, or particularly the type of privilege created for and protected by whiteness. In America, we are near or at the bottom in every relevant metric determining quality of life. Our arrest and incarceration rates, our likelihood of dying a violent death, our likelihood of graduating high school and attending college, our employment rates, our average net worth, our likelihood of surviving past 70. I could continue, but the point is clear. The article goes on to state that, but assessing our privilege or lack thereof on these facts considers only our relationship with whiteness and with America. Intraracially, however, our relationship to and with black women is not unlike whiteness relationship to us. In fact, it's eerily similar. Let me scroll down a little bit more for you guys. Okay, this is where we are now. The article goes on to state that we're the ones for whom the first black president created an entire initiative to assist and uplift. And they're talking about Barack Obama's initiative to save, the black boys. Uplift. It says, we're the ones whose beatings and deaths at the hands of the police galvanize the community in a way that the beatings and sexual assaults and deaths to those same police that those same police inflict upon black women do not. We all know that, via the rise and via the onslaught, should I say, of, black men and boys being shot down in the street. Do you see what I'm saying? There was a whole Black Lives Matter movement created to try to combat this horrific thing that's going on even today in our community. So the article goes on to state that, but you have no protest and you have nothing other than a bootleg a Me Too movement that was started by a black woman, by the way, and it's been taken apart. But Anglo women have taken upon that fight because they're going at the necks of black men and white men. But a lot of black men have been thrown under the bus via Me Too. But all of that, none of that is going on when it comes to like the article states, the beating and assaults, that are done and inflicted upon black women. Okay. The article goes on to state that we're the ones whose mistreatment inspired a boycott of the NFL, despite the NFL's long history of mishandling and outright ignoring far worse crimes against black women. We are the ones who get the biggest seat at the table and the biggest piece of chicken at the table, despite making the smallest contribution to the meal. That was deep. The article goes on to state that and nowhere is this more evident than when considering the collective danger we pose to black women and our collective lack of willingness to accept and make amends for that truth. It's a damning and depressing paradox. When speaking about race and racism, we want our concerns and our worries and our fears to be acknowledged. We want white people to at least make an effort to understand that our reality is different from theirs and that white supremacy is a vital and inexplicable part of America's foundation, and we grow frustrated when they refuse to acknowledge their role, historically and presently, in propagating it. I'm trying to scroll down a bit. Hold on. I'm trying to keep you guys with me in this. The article goes on to state that when the racism isn't blatant or doesn't appear to exist at all, we want them to give us the benefit of the doubt because we've trained ourselves to be able to sense it, even in minute, even in minute and barely perceptible amounts, because our safety depends on our recognition of it. We sure have feels to be stopped by a police officer, or perhaps to walk into an all-white bar and have each eye trained on us, or perhaps to jaunt down the street in an all-white neighborhood, and we want them to understand how words and gestures they consider to be innocuous can be threatening, even if there is no intention or malice, or intention, or even if there's no, intention of malice. Although we recognize that not all white people are actively racist, we want them to accept that our benefit from racism, and we become annoyed when individual whites take personal exception and center themselves in any conversation about race, claiming to be one of the quote unquote good ones, and wishing for us to stop and acknowledge their goodness. That's deep, right? The article goes on to state that, but when black women show that we pose the same existential and literal danger to them that whiteness does to us, and when black women ask us to give them the benefit of the doubt about street harassment and sexual assault and other forms of harassment and violence we might not personally witness, and when black women tell us that following our cousins and brothers and co-workers and niggas, to use misogynistic language, propagates that culture of danger, and when black women admit how scary it can be to get followed and approached by a man while waiting for a bus or walking home from work, and when black women articulate how hurtful it is for our reactions to domestic abuse and the rapes and murders to be quote unquote what women need to do differently to prevent this from happening to them, unquote, instead of, quote, what we men need to do differently to prevent us from doing this to them, unquote, their words are met with resistance and outright pushback. After demanding from white people that we're listened to and believed and that our livelihoods are considered, our ears shut off and hearts shut down when black women are pleading with us. Let me scroll down a little bit more. The article goes on to state that making things worse is that black women and girls are also black people in America, a fact we seem to forget whenever possessing a bad memory is convenient. The effect of racism, metaphysical and literal, and the existential dread and dangers felt when existing while black are not exclusive to black men and boys. They face the same racisms we do and the same doubts from whites about whether the racism actually exists that we do. And then they're forced to attempt to convince their brothers and partners and friends and fathers and cousins and lovers of the dangers of existing as black women. And they're met with the same doubts, the same resistance, the same questions. They're not believed in the predominantly white world or in their predominantly black communities. And we black men remain either uninterested in sincerely addressing and destructing this culture of danger and pervasive doubt, or refuse to admit it even exists. The article goes on to state that I'm not quite sure where I first heard, quote, straight black men are the white people of black people, unquote. I know I read a version of it recently in Saki Benebo's, quote, the 444 effect, unquote. Molly Mashinko tweeted, cis black men are the white people of black people, unquote, over a year ago, and apparently received so much criticism for it that she temporarily locked her account. But in a conversation we had earlier today, she shared that her tweet was actually a revision of another tweet she'd read a month after Molly's tweet. It was revised again by Rodimus Prime. The article goes on to state that I also know that I've read pieces and been a part of conversations connecting our black men's relationships with black women to the relationships we have with white people, but never quite heard it articulated this way. The article goes on to state that either way, that statement, that phrasing, and what they suggest are shocking and succinct, simple, subtle, and effing scary. And that is true. Unquote. That is the article. That is the entire article that Damon Young wrote in 2017 that sparked such an uproar on YouTube as well as Twitter when he wrote it. And like I said at the time, I did not agree because of my ignorance of how so many black men really felt about black women. I didn't agree with this article, but I have gotten a whole education, like I said, on YouTube, and I now agree with this article. Okay, that is just the bottom line, because we all know that when it comes to the He-Man black woman haters in this community, it is true. So if you guys will let me, and good afternoon, everybody. If I haven't said good afternoon. So yeah, let me stop this share so I can focus. Hold on one second if you don't mind. Okay. So yeah, I really want you guys to I really want to read that article for you guys. And like I said, that is why I shared it on the screen. If you want to go back and read it yourself, please hit the Google search and type in Damon Young article 2017, straight black men are the white people of black people. And you can read the article for yourself. I did, however, read it in its entirety. And I wanted to share that article with you guys real quick, in particular, because of all the derogatory things that we hear, on a daily basis. We hear the He-Man women haters talking about everything from the color of our skin, because we know that many black men are the number one perpetrators when it comes to colorism. They think that if they get with and mate with the Anglo woman, they can breed out their blackness because they hate themselves. That is also the reason why I played the Malcolm X little excerpt that I played at the top of the video. And you know, in reference to that article, as it pertains to that article, I wanted to mention that it would appear that the house Negro has gotten his revenge, okay? Because you have black men advocating more for Anglo women and more for the interests of the Anglo rather than the interests of his own community. When it comes to these black man woman haters, these self-haters, they say that they want to burn the community down. Okay, that is how they feel about you, and nothing that you do, black woman, we know is ever good enough for them. Whether you work, whether you don't work, whether you have kids, whether you don't have kids, whether you light or dark, you know, whether you are educated, uneducated, whether they consider you, ratchet or a I guess what is the opposite of ratchet? Not ratchet or whatever. Whether you wear weave, whether you wear your afro, whether you wear makeup, whether you don't wear makeup, nothing is ever good enough for these he-man black woman haters. Okay, and we out. Hold on, y'all. Let me get the troll. There's a troll. I got it right here. Hey, Rude Imp, how you doing? And so that is another reason why I want to read that article for you guys today. You guys let me know, what do you think about the article? Do you agree or disagree with that article? Marquis says, not necessary. Some just fall in love. Unfortunately, history and this life we live in are sad. Not necessary. I don't know what you mean by that, Marquis. But anyway, yeah, what did you guys think about that article? Do you agree with some of it, none of it? You know, what is your version of it? Milano said, Oxy from YT. Yeah, yeah. Lachey said, dang, I got here at the end. Well, Lachey, I hope that you will go back and listen to the replay of the video, because I read the 2017 Damon Young article titled straight black men or the white people of black people, and that's what we were discussing today. Jessica B says, even the racially ambiguous women are put on pedestals, but our kinks, curls, naps, or coils are viewed as less than. Black women are beaten verbally, emotionally, etc. You're absolutely right, and that is in part the reason why. That is in part another reason why I read that article, because we know that this is going on, and we know that because of all of this anti-black hatred coming from our own people, that is in part the reason why the House Negro has had its revenge. Okay? Klaus said, I personally think that it should say some black men. Well, yeah, Cloud, I mean, obviously, you know, he can't speak for all black men, because, you know, like all black women, you know, we are not a monolithic people. We do not all think and move the same way. Do you see what I'm saying? But I understand what you're saying. Klaus said, I personally think that he should say some straight black men, but I got what they are saying. Unfortunately, the so-called manosphere is pushed almost like the gay agenda. I absolutely agree, Cloud. You're absolutely right. Okay, I'm going to check it out. Okay, thank you, Lachey. Shame on them. But anyway, I also want to play something else for you guys from Brother Malcolm X. I don't want to hold you guys too long, but I really pretty much wanted to just read that article, to you for your consideration, because it doesn't seem like this anti-black woman rhetoric is going to die down anytime soon. You know, we are seeing more and more every day the rise of the black identity, what I call the black identifying incel extremists. Do you see what I'm saying? If they want to, and then when we talk about the black incel on YouTube, I have heard some black men saying that, well, they're not going to take this online. They're really not going to do nothing to black women. And that is absolutely not true, because we have witnessed a incel in the past couple of years ago taking the rhetoric offline. He was a staunch supporter of Sergeant Willie P., which is one of the first promoters of this anti-black woman rhetoric. He was also mentally ill, and because he was mentally ill, there was a black female, young black girl on YouTube making videos also at the same time. Her name was Asia McGowan. And this man felt like he had so much hate And what he was undergoing was obsession. Do you see what I'm saying? Stalkerism. He was an online incel stalker, in my opinion. And because of his mental illness, his stalkerism, his incelism, listening to this rhetoric, letting it eat away at his brain, he killed Agent McGowan in a college classroom. So when they tell you that this anti-black woman rhetoric won't be taken offline, that is a lie, because it has already been taken offline before. And even and another reason why, like I said it once, I say it again, part of the reason why you have so many black men angry with black women is not only because they're jealous, because they think the white man is giving you a pat on the back because he thinks that the white man prefers you. It is also because he can't beat you with impunity anymore like he used to, because if he puts his hands on you and you call the police, that white man is going to lock him up for domestic violence. So he doesn't have you to use as a punching bag anymore. And it really breaks my heart when I see women really feeding into something like colorism, or really feeding into anything that comes out of their mouth. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if somebody is speaking ill about you, it says more about them than it does you. You simply do not have to listen, and you absolutely should never internalize this type of madness. Do you see what I'm saying? I've heard people this morning. Well, I've had to delete a couple of comments. I had to delete a couple of comments this morning from a couple of people, a couple of men that were upset about the video that I made last night about Kobe Bryant. Okay? Now, it is unfortunate if you don't agree with me. Okay. But really, what did I say that was a lie? Okay? You advocated, and then a lot of people, a lot of the problem that the black community has is we love our athletes and our entertainers, and we think that they can do no wrong. Okay, they are people just like we are. Okay, but why nobody? Was it such an uproar when Kobe Bryant, was really not understanding of what had happened to Trayvon Martin, when he said that first he's gonna have to see all the evidence before he decided what stance he would make. And then when a few black people got upset with him, he then took a photo op and put on a hooded shirt, took a photo with the Martins, and put it on a shirt, a Trayvon Martin shirt, and then after that, he was done with it. And after that, the black folks calmed down. He got a photo op. They were satisfied with it. Whether he cared or not is really not important. He put on the semblance of caring. Do you see what I'm saying? And then we were satisfied. Again, we are so easily led astray, and we are so easily impressed, by the very least among us, till it's ridiculous. Do you see what I'm saying? But I don't hear anybody talking about the fact that, he was not even speaking to his parents at the time of his death. I don't hear anybody, and they always want to quote the Bible when they want to throw something that they think that you're doing wrong, black woman, in your face. They want to start quoting the Bible, especially them Hebrew Israelites. But what about that little part in the Bible that says, honor thy father and mother, for thy days may be lengthened? What about that little part? Huh? They're going around talking something. Well, you can't check that man's pockets. You can't. Black people think you owe them something. I don't think nobody owe me nothing. And I ain't checking nobody's pockets. But as it pertains to generational wealth, we know that black men on a continual basis, when they get a little change, they feel like they want a trophy. And the first thing they do is go find them a Becky. And when he passed away or whatever, his generational wealth is not taken, is not poured back into the black community. It is put into that Anglo community. And that's just a fact. But see, a lot of people also don't even realize that it's just all a setup anyway. It is set up to be that way. Because the reason why your community is in a situation that it is right now is not even because of something that's gone on recently. A lot of people want to blame it on the crack epidemic. In fact, that is not true. The reason why your black community is in the way that it is because it was a setup. The civil rights movement, the inner workings of the civil rights movement, the Anglo set you up. Because the Anglo wanted your black dollars. They said, okay, they want to be able to sit in our restaurants and to sit on the front of our buses. We're going to let them so they can get their black money. Because money is power. Land is power. And at the onslaught of the civil rights movement, and outdoing the civil rights movement at first, black communities were segregated. And because our black communities were segregated, we had our own businesses. We had our own bus lines. We had a growing, budding economy. Our communities were growing. But because the black man has always sought the pat on the head from the white man, because he want to sit at his restaurant and eat with him and live beside him, because he thinks that the white man ice has always been colder, we fought for our civil and human rights. But were we fighting for our civil and human rights, or were we fighting to live beside them and eat with them and sleep with them? Okay? And at first the white man didn't appreciate it. Then he said, hold up, wait a minute. I can get his black dollars. Let me go on. I'm intimidated that his community is growing and thriving because his black dollars are staying in his own black community because they have their own stores and their own public transportation systems and their own schools and their own hospitals and their own colleges. The black dollar is not coming out of the black community fast enough. And if we continue to let them allow them to be segregated, the black dollar is only going to get stronger and stronger. That means that they will be able to compete with us in the market on Wall Street eventually. And if we leave them segregated long enough, they will be able to compete with us globally. So let's go on and give them the right to sit beside us in a restaurant. Let's go on and give them the right to sit beside us on a bus. Because when we give them the right to come in our communities, in our establishments, they will give all their black dollars to our economic system. Their business will start to fail. Their communities will start to dwindle. So, okay, give them what they want so that we can get what we want. See, that is the issue. That is what really was going on during the time of the civil rights movement. It wasn't about you. You don't have the civil and human rights that you have right now because of their humanity. Because we know in that community, there is no humanity. You have the little bit of freedoms that you have right now because they wanted your black dollars. They wanted to stop you from being able to compete. So when you hear all these arguments about people being insensitive to the tragedy that befell Mr. Bryant, why aren't you why aren't you protecting, and speaking out about the travesty that's going on in your community every day? Why aren't you devastated about that? Why aren't you devastated? I heard more people talking about Mr. Bryant's tragedy than I heard about the tragedy of those two little black boys, those two little teenagers, black boys, that are being forced to cut off their dreads if they want to walk across the stage in graduation, or if they want to not be suspended in school anyway. And because their mother won't allow the white man to emasculate them, they don't get to graduate and they don't get to go back to school. So you're holding their education hostage. Where's the outcry for those little boys? Because, see, they haven't passed away. They're still alive. Their mother is trying to fight for them not to be emasculated. Okay? Trying to fight for them not to have to assimilate into the house Negro. Okay? Because like I said, we no longer collectively have a warrior class in the black community. We no longer have the Malcolm X in the community or the Khalid Muhammad's in the black community. We no longer have that collectively. But we do have a collective bunch of house Negroes, okay, working hard and politicking hard in his own community. Number one, politicking hard against the black woman, politicking hard to save yourself, black man. Save yourself from what? Save yourself from them Beckys, like that Becky that called you the N-word, that called Kobe Bryant the N-word online last night on MSNBC. Is that what you saving yourself from? Okay. Okay. But this commentary right here, as well as the article that I read, is to tickle the ears of the black woman. Okay? Because Malcolm X already told us, and I agree, we are the most unprotected. Okay? And the most disrespected. All right? But we don't have to join in with the house Negro. Okay? We can be the Amazon, the ancient Amazon of our African female ancestors that won wars against the British when they try to come in and steal their babies and their husbands and turn them into slaves. Because we know that if our community is going to be saved, it's going to have to be us. So when you hear the house Negro online over there in O'Shea chat or in the Black Manosphere or BG Ilmore or whoever, whatever they call themselves, the incel, when you hear them speaking derogatorily about the color of your skin or the fact that if you're a single mom or not, okay, don't worry about it. Laugh at them, their whole joke. I do. I can't take you seriously. If you want to destroy your community in order to get a pat, in hopes of getting a pat in the back, getting a pat on the back from White Zaddy, if you're willing to go that far to put your black woman in danger, I can't take you seriously. But like I said, gone are the days of the Malcolm X. We no longer have a warrior class in this country. And it's just a fact. All right? That's right, Lachey. I agree with you. And it's like the poem, Ain't I a Woman? I absolutely agree with you, Lachey. Thank you, Lady Tia, for the super chat. I always stand strong, Queen Olivia. Thank you. Thank you, Lady Tia. I appreciate you. But anyway, I want to play something else because I just wanted to give you guys, number one, something to think about. And I hope you guys will do like Lachey. Go look up that article for yourself or hit that, replay button and listen to me read it to you again, as well as, follow along on the screen. And just consider what it is that the brother was trying to tell us. All white men, in fact, are straight black men, or some straight black men. In fact, now the white people are black people. Do they dismiss what is going on with us? The harassments, the assaults that are going on with us. Do they dismiss that? Because they simply do not care. We know a lot of them don't care. But and since they dismissing our plight, do we have to continue to march for them? Because our lives matter too. Because they seem to be only worried about White Zaddy. Okay? To the point to where he's willing to, in his own words, burn your black community down. Okay? So what are we going to do? Are we going to continue to have blows thrown, verbal blows thrown at us? Are we going to continue to, or are we going to start standing and not paying attention to them? Okay? That's what I want to know. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I sat around and I listened to a whole lot of them videos. A couple of them. These black women are insensitive about Kobe Bryant. Okay. And what? That is the question that I asked. But anyway, I want to play you a little bit of this on my way out the door, a little bit of this speech. Let's hear some more from Malcolm X. Okay, and if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. But Brother Malcolm, we no longer have any more Malcolm X's in our community. And since the black man collectively is emasculated, since they already try to say we are not feminine and we act like men anyway, are we going to have any other choice but to protect ourselves like the black man is supposed to be protecting us? Because the only thing he worried about protecting right now is that Anglo woman and his white zaddy. And yeah, I agree. Lachey is sad but true. So anyway, let's listen to what Brother Malcolm has to say about the house Negro and the field Negro. That's what I say, Miss Olivia, too. Absolutely, Linda. It is sad but true. But it's facts upon facts upon facts, okay? And it's unfortunate that it is what it is. But what I'm tired of, before I roll this tape, what I'm tired of is our women online listening to anything that these clowns have to say, because I can't take you seriously. And I don't want y'all to be taking them seriously either. Okay? Don't nobody care. They holler, the black woman, excuse me, in a couple of years, no black man is going to fool with no black woman, and she going to be in trouble. She going to starve to death. You know what I got to say about that? As long as you got a vagina in between your legs and a brain in your head, black woman, you will never starve. Okay? You will never starve. And you ain't going to die from loneliness. Okay? Because if they don't want you, you shouldn't want them anyway. And they really think we care about them going their own way. I would offer to give you some money to buy you a plane ticket to the DR, but I don't give money to men. Okay? Men give money to me. But all right. You see how that works? But anyway, let me read this real fast. Alicia said it's sad what happened to him. But he's a stranger to me. I save my tears for those close to me. Klaus said Malcolm left the Nation of Islam in large part due to the mistreatment of a lot of the women in the Nation of Islam by Brother Elijah Muhammad. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right, Klaus. You are absolutely right. So anyway, guys, let me play a little bit of this. This is Malcolm X's speech titled The House Negro and the Field Negro. You guys, please hit the like button if you will.
Understand this, you have to go back to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro. Back during slavery, there was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified. Bernie Sanders wants to be our 46th president.
It's a darn on commercial. Hold on, guys. I didn't even know it was a commercial in this thing. Hold on 1 second. I know how to fix that. I had no idea.
And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, that house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today, because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here. I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you say. While you left your mind in Africa. On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masters. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field caught hell. He ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hog. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but what was left of the insides of the hog. They call them chitlins nowadays. In those days, they call them what they were, guts. That's what you were, a gut eater. And some of you all still gut eaters. The field Negro was beaten from morning till night. He lived in a shack, in a hut. He wore cast-off clothes. And he hated his master. I say he hated his master. He was intelligent. That house Negro loved his master. But that field Negro, remember, they were in the majority. And they hated his master. When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind, for a breeze. When the master got sick, the field Negro prayed that he died. If someone come to the field Negro and said, let's separate, let's run, he didn't say, where are we going? He said, any place is better than here. You got field Negroes in America today. I'm a field Negro. The masses are the field Negroes. When they see this man's house on fire, you don't hear these little Negroes talking about our government is in trouble. They say the government is in trouble. Imagine a Negro, our government. I even heard one say our astronauts. They won't even let him near the plant. And our astronauts, our Navy, that's a Negro that's out of his mind. That's a Negro that's out of his mind. Just as the slave master in that day used Tom, the house Negro, to keep the field Negroes in check. The same old slave master today has Negroes who are nothing but modern Uncle Toms, 20th century Uncle Toms, to keep you and me in check, keep us under control, keep us passive and peaceful and nonviolent. That's Tom making you nonviolent. It's like when you go to the dentist and the man is going to take your tooth. You're going to fight him when he starts pulling. So they squirt some stuff in your jaw called Novocaine to make you think they're not doing anything to you. So you sit there and because you got all that Novocaine in your jaw, you suffer peacefully. Blood running all down your jaw. And you don't know what's happening. Because someone has taught you to suffer peacefully. The white man do the same thing to you in the street. When he don't want to put knots on your head and take advantage of you and don't have to be afraid of you fighting back. To keep you from fighting back, he get these old religious Uncle Toms to teach you and me. They're just like Novocaine. Suffer peacefully. Don't stop suffering, just suffer peacefully. As Reverend Cleave pointed out, let your blood flow in the streets. This is a shame. And you know, he's a Christian preacher. If it's a shame to him, you know what it is to me. There's nothing in our book, the Quran, as you call it, Quran, teaches us to suffer peacefully. Our religion teaches us to be intelligent, be peaceful, be courteous, obey the law, respect everyone. But if someone puts his hand on you, send them to the cemetery. That's a good religion. In fact, that's an all-time religion. That's the one that Ma and Pa used to talk about. An eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, and a head for a head, and a life for a life. That's a good religion. And then anybody, no one resents that kind of religion being taught but a wolf who intends to make you his meal. This is the way it is with the white man in America. He's a wolf, and you're a sheep. Anytime a shepherd, a pastor, teach you and me not to run from the white man, and at the same time teach us don't fight the white man, he's a traitor to you and me. Don't lay down our life all by itself. No. Preserve your life. It's the best thing you got. And if you got to give it up, let it be even Stephen. The slave master took Tom and dressed him well and fed him well and even gave him a little education, Gave him a long coat and a top hat and made all the other slaves look up to him. Then he used Tom to control them. The same strategy that was used in those days is used today by the same white man. He take a Negro, so-called Negro, and make him prominent, build him up, publicize him, make him a celebrity, and then he becomes a spokesman for Negro and a Negro leader. I would like to just mention one thing else quickly, and that is the method that the white man uses, how the white man uses these big guns or Negro leaders against the black revolution. They're not a part of the black revolution. They're used against the black revolution. When Martin Luther King failed to desegregate Albany, Georgia, the civil rights struggle in America reached its low point. King became bankrupt almost as a leader. Plus, even financially, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference was in financial trouble. Plus, it was in trouble, period, with the people when they failed to desegregate Albany, Georgia. Other Negro civil rights leaders of so-called national stature became fallen idols. As they became fallen idols, began to lose their prestige and influence, local Negro leaders began to stir up the masses. In Cambridge, Maryland, Gloria Richardson. In Danville, Virginia, and other parts of the country, local leaders began to stir up our people at the grassroots level. This was never done by these Negroes whom you recognize of national stature. They controlled you, but they never incited you or excited you. They controlled you, they contained you. They kept you on the plantation. As soon as King failed in Birmingham, Negroes took to the streets. King got out and went out to California to a big rally and raised about, I don't know how many thousands of dollars. Come to Detroit and had a march and raised some more thousands of dollars. And recall, right after that, Wilkins attacked King, accused King and the Corps of starting trouble everywhere and then making the NAACP get him out of jail and spend a lot of money. And then he accused King and Corps of raising all the money and not paying it back. This happened. I got it in documented evidence in the newspaper. Roy started attacking King, and King started attacking Roy, and Farmer started attacking both of them. And as these Negroes of national stature begin to attack each other, they begin to lose their control of the Negro masses. And Negroes was out there in the streets. They was talking about, we're going to march on Washington. By the way, right at that time, Birmingham had exploded, and the Negroes in Birmingham, remember, they also exploded. They began to stab the crackers in the back and bust them upside the head. Yes, they did. That's when Kennedy sent in the troops down in Birmingham. So, and right after that, Kennedy got on the television and said, this is a moral issue. That's when he said he's going to put out a civil rights bill. And when he mentioned civil rights bill and the Southern crackers started talking about they were going to boycott it or filibuster, then the Negroes started talking about what? We're going to march on Washington, march on the Senate, march on the White House, march on the Congress, and tie it up, bring it to a halt. Don't let the government proceed. They even said they were going to go out to the airport and lay down on the runway and don't let no airplanes land. I'm telling you what they said. That was revolution. That was revolution. That was the black revolution. It was the grassroots out there in the street. Scared the white man to death. Scared the white power structure in Washington, D.C. to death. I was there. When they found out that this black steamroller was going to come down on the Capitol, they called in Wilkins. They called in Randolph. They called in these national Negro leaders that you respect and told them, call it off. Kennedy said, look, you all letting this thing go too far. And old Tom said, boss, I can't stop it because I didn't start it. I'm telling you what they said. They said, I'm not even in it, much less at the head of it. They said, these Negroes are doing things on their own. They're running ahead of us. And that old shrewd fox, he said, well, if you all aren't in it, I'll put you in it. I'll put you at the head of it. I'll endorse it. I'll welcome it. I'll help it. I'll join it. A matter of hours went by. They had a meeting at the Carlisle Hotel in New York City. The Carlisle hotel is owned by the Kennedy family. That's the hotel Kennedy spent the night at 2 nights ago. Belongs to his family. A philanthropic society headed by a white man named Stephen Currier called all the top civil rights leaders together at the Carlisle Hotel and told them that by you all fighting each other, you're destroying the civil rights movement. And since you're fighting over money from white liberals, let us set up what's known as the Council for United Civil Rights Leadership. Let's form this council, and all the civil rights organizations will belong to it. And we'll use it for showing how tricky the white man is. And as soon as they got it formed, they elected Whitney Young as the chairman. And who you think became the co-chairman? Stephen Currier, the white man. A millionaire. Powell was talking about it down at the Cobo today. This is what he was talking about. Powell knows it happened. Randolph knows it happened. Wilkins knows it happened. King knows it happened. Every one of that so-called Big Six. They know what happened. Once they formed it, with the white man over it, he promised them and gave them $800,000 to split up between the Big Six, and told them that after the march was over, they'd give them $700,000 more. $1.5 million split up between leaders that you've been following, going to jail for, crying crocodile tears for, and they're nothing but Frank James and Jesse James and brothers. Soon as they got the setup organized, the white man made available to them top public relations experts. Opened the news media across the country at their disposal. And then they began to project these Big Six as the leaders of the march. Originally, they weren't even in the march. You was talking this march talk on Hastings Street. Is Hastings Street still here? On Hastings Street. You was talking the march talk on Lenox Avenue. And down on, Fillmore Street. And Central Avenue. And 42nd Street and 63rd Street. That's where the march talk was being talked. But the white man put the Big Six ahead of it. Made them the march. They became the march. They took it over. And the first move they made after they took it over, they invited Walter Reuther, a white man. They invited a priest, a rabbi, and an old white preacher. Yes, an old white preacher. The same white element that put Kennedy in power, labor, the Catholics, the Jews, and liberal Protestants. Same clique that put Kennedy in power joined the March on Washington. It's just like when you got some coffee that's too black, which means it's too strong. What you do? You integrate it with cream. You make it weak. If you pour too much cream in, you won't even know you ever had coffee. It used to be hot, it becomes cool. It used to be strong, it becomes weak. It used to wake you up, now it'll put you to sleep. This is what they did with the March on Washington. They joined it. They didn't integrate it, they infiltrated it. They joined it, became a part of it, took it over. And as they took it over, it lost its militancy. They ceased to be angry. They ceased to be hot. They ceased to be uncompromising. Why, it even ceased to be a march. It became a picnic, a circus. Nothing but a circus with clowns and all. You had one right here in Detroit. I saw it on television. with clowns leading it, white clowns and black clowns. I know you don't like what I'm saying, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because I can prove what I'm saying. If you think I'm telling you wrong, you bring me Martin Luther King and A. Philip Randolph and James Farmer and those other three, and see if they'll deny it over a microphone. No, it was a sellout. It was a takeover. When James Baldwin came in from Paris, they wouldn't let him talk because they couldn't make him go by the script. Burt Lancaster wrote the speech that Baldwin was supposed to make. They wouldn't let Baldwin get up there because they know Baldwin's liable to say anything. They controlled it so tight, they told those Negroes what time to hit town, how to come, where to stop, what sign to carry, what song to sing, what speech they could make and what speech they couldn't make, and then told them to get out of town by sundown. And every one of those Toms were out of town by sundown. Now, I know you don't like my saying this, but I can back it up. It was a circus, a performance. It beat anything Hollywood could ever do. The performance of the year. Luther and those other three devils should get an Academy Award for the best actors because they acted like they really loved Negroes and fooled a whole lot of Negroes. And the 6 Negro leaders should get an award too for the best supporting cast.
Pleased to welcome you to part 2 of the...
Well, that's all. We have gone over an hour, and I know you guys don't want to be here all day. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I want you to hear the first half of that speech from Martin Luther King. I want you to hear this first part of it. Let me fix my thing, y'all. Sorry about that.
Martin Luther King.
The reason why I want you to hear it, especially the middle and the end part. And good morning, hey Brenda, good afternoon, hey Brenda, and thanks everybody for joining me. The reason why I want you to hear that so much of it is because I want you to catch that T. Did you catch that T when he was talking about what was really going on during the time of the civil rights marches? What was going on with the leaders? Do you see what I'm saying? Because, in retrospect and in hindsight, I think that we know why the reason that they had to get rid of Malcolm X is because Malcolm X was telling you the true tea. He was telling you what really was going on behind the scenes, and he was also letting you know who was really behind the civil rights movement. And like I said, when it comes to sideline quarterbacking, I now understand why Dr. King said in one of his last speeches that I fear that I have led my people into a burning house. But maybe he was undergoing some kind of crisis of conscience. Do you see what I'm saying? And as it pertains to our black community right now, the war between the men and the women, what they call it, the gender wars. Who is the house Negro and who is the field Negro? Because I think if you are listening with listening ears and and using your critical thinking skills, you will know that the black woman has become the field Negro, and the black man has become not all black men, but most, especially these anti-black woman haters online, they have become, in fact, the house Negro, which is why I titled my video what I titled it, The House Negroes Revenge, okay? Because you got all these house Negroes running around here from chat to chat, from platform to platform, plotting and planning the demise of the black woman and want to burn the black community down. Those are the same thing that they were plotting for and planning for back in the day. That was the real undertone of the civil rights movement, okay? To plot on your community to burn it to the ground. Not fit literally, but economically. Okay? To destroy the black family. To separate it. To destroy your economy. So that you won't have no black power. So if there ever is going to be any kind of revolution, any kind of uplifting, true uplifting of our people, It is going to have to be the black woman that does it. Okay? And so I'm going to get out of here. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Please hit it on your way out the door. I appreciate you guys for listening to me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday. Do you see what I'm saying? Don't forget to smile. Don't forget to smile at somebody, and never, ever, ever forget to love your beautiful self. I'm going to talk to you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Peace.